Fam, thank you for choosing to watch this episode of Mind the Mic podcast. Before we get into it, though, I need you to hit subscribe. And not just me, the whole Mind the Mic podcast family needs you to. Maddie, Uncle Pete, Stu, Lekka, and of course myself, Shubz, and anybody else that's on board by the time you watch this video, we need you to hit subscribe. If it's your first time here, I understand if you're a bit reserved and you're like, I don't know, watch the video and after subscribe if you want to. But if you're here and you're watching all the time, subscribe. It's not that hard. All you got to do is, if you're watching on your TV, you're like, I can't subscribe, I don't have an account. You have a phone, don't you? I know you have a phone in your hand right now. Grab the phone, create a YouTube account. It takes a couple minutes, and then you can subscribe. And when you do that too, hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time we put up a new episode. I asked this of you because we put in so much time. We've done hundreds of episodes. We plan on doing thousands more with as many amazing people as we can. But we need you to subscribe, fam. Big love to everybody that's been watching. Big love to everybody that's been supporting and anybody that's just arrived. I hope you enjoy the journey, enjoy the episode, and subscribe. Welcome back to another Mind the Mic podcast. I'm your host, Shubz, here with a very special guest in the building, an interesting lady with an interesting story. The owner of Hit Like a Girl. She's a boxing trainer, a breathwork instructor, and also appeared on The Amazing Race. And I'm sure she's done other amazing things we'll get into. Ash Ruscoe, how are you, Ash?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, can't complain. It's getting colder, obviously.
I know, it's freezing.
But it's getting a bit warmer, a bit cooler now. How's things in Sydney?
Freezing. Even more freezing because I've been living in Bali for a year. So I'm not a climate anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Bali. What do you miss about Bali now that you're back for, what's it been, like a month or so?
Yeah, a couple of weeks. I mean, I miss the heat, obviously, but Bali, you've got that whole vacation holiday vibe. And the gyms over there are just elite. Like all the boxing gyms and MMA gyms that I was training and fighting out of were just like the most amazing gyms ever. So I miss that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not elite over here. Is that what you're saying? Or
like, no, I don't want to bad mouth the news. No, but no, you know what? It's just a different energy. I think over there, I just love training in the heat. I love sweating and I love that.
Okay.
It's more of a community over in, especially in different, like in Thailand as well and in Bali. I feel like everyone goes there to train and do fight camps. So you've got that real community there. Whereas in Australia, there's not as much consistency that I've noticed in the gyms.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like a lot more people, especially when you talk about fight camps, a lot more high intensity training, a lot more. Yeah, I get what you mean. No, solid. I guess for anybody that doesn't know who you are, the lady that lived in Bali for a year and now back in Sydney, can you tell us a little bit about yourself besides what I've already said?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I grew up doing combat sports. So I started when I was about 5. And I did like a freestyle martial arts. And I truly attest doing a martial arts as a female to my self-esteem and my confidence growing up. And I competed as a kickboxer throughout my teens. I stopped and then I got into competitive swimming. So I've always done a competitive sport. I'm super competitive as a person, love to win. And I also had a burning desire inside me from when I was little that I always wanted to defend my friends or my younger brother against bullies, and most of the time it was boys. So I always had like a thing in me that I wanted to also compete with boys. I used to love competing like any sport with boys because I wanted to beat them. So I've had that in me since I was little, and then martial arts kind of just facilitate that because I got to like spar with boys and compete with them on a combat level, which was like my dream. So from then I went into competitive swimming, and then after that went to uni, got into HR, so I went into the corporate world. And then I think a pivotal moment for me in my life was I went on to The Amazing Race, as you have mentioned, with a couple of ex-boyfriends ago. And we were the villains actually on The Amazing Race, which was an interesting sort of character that we got put into. And after that, The Amazing Race, I think the interesting thing about reality TV is that it really shines a light on your behaviors, and you never really get to see yourself videoed in a long period of time. So when I reflected on that, I remember thinking that this person wasn't for me. He didn't really speak to me that well, and he sort of lost control in a few situations. And the show is really high pressure.
Hold on. So you was after the show watching it back. You're like, this ain't
Well, that
he ain't the dude.
cemented it for me. On the show, I remember
Wow.
thinking, I remember thinking I need to break up with this person because he's not right for me. Because it was a high
I
pressure.
guess that's how you test yourself, right?
Yes,
In an
exactly.
environment
Yeah.
like that.
And it's a
Yeah.
race. And so there's a competition. I think it's like you win 250K if you win. It's all these different challenges. And you really see people's true colors, especially also you have no phones, no TV, you're locked in a room and you're kind of tortured a little bit. And then you're released and you have to go and do this challenge. So there's a lot of tension. So after that, during the show, I thought I need to get rid of him. And then afterwards, I was like, yeah, definitely. So we broke up, but then the breakup wasn't great. It was, we were also on the TV show, so we broke up. He assaulted me, and then after that, the police were called. A neighbor actually called the police, and he got arrested. And so from that, because it was publicized in the media, I felt super humiliated, and I also still loved that person. And it's a weird thing to happen when someone is so violent towards you, and you still love them because your brain can't really comprehend what's going on. Anyway, so after that happened, I felt like I needed to change everything in my life. So I had always done combat sport, since I was 5, and then I got back into combat sport. So I started doing boxing again. And then I thought, and it was really helping me heal and recover, and I was able to release energy, and I just felt much more myself. And so I was like, this has actually helped me so much. I'm actually going to quit my job, and I was working in HR full time, and start my business called Hit Like a Girl. And I want to pass this on, this gift that I've given myself. I want to pass it on to other women to heal through their journeys or their lives. And I know as women, I think as a gender, need help with empowerment because, we've been suppressed for many years and, face a lot of violent behavior and psychological abuse and whatever. But I thought I want to give back to women. So then I started my business, Hit Like a Girl. And so basically what I do now is I do one-on-one sessions, big group sessions, and I also incorporate breath work and meditation. And my goal, I guess, with the business is just I want to impact as many women as possible. And I not only want to help them with the physical stuff, physically boxing and self-defense and breath work, but also understand the cycles of domestic violence because it's something that I've been exposed to. And I really wasn't that aware until I went through it. And then when you're through it, it's almost too late.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And but you say so that whole race situation is what sort of birthed in a lot of ways Hit Like a Girl, from what you went through there into obviously the
Yeah.
breakup and whatever, and then pretty much launched that thing. And how long has that been now?
It's been 3.5 years. Yeah, almost 4 years actually.
Okay. Yeah. But going even way back to when you started your little spiel on you and your journey, you said you had a little brother that you always wanted to protect. How many other siblings do you have?
Just one. So just my younger brother. He's
Just
3 years younger than me. Yeah, but I just
Yeah.
remember thinking if any kids tried to bully him, I was always like, I feel like there's a sibling rage that you feel. You can get annoyed at your siblings, but if anyone touches your siblings, you're like, no. Yeah. So I remember just thinking I would have done anything to protect my brother because I remember he went to a boys' school as well and he got bullied on the bus and I remember thinking I'm going to get on that bus and sort these guys out.
Yeah, 100%. Where did you grow up? Where were you born and stuff?
So I grew up out west in Camden.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a semi-rural sort of area, and then borderline into Camden. There's a few, I guess, rough areas. So that's where I did my martial arts as well. It was at a gym in Campbelltown.
Oh, okay, Campbelltown. We see. Oh, okay. And how far is that from Camden? Is it pretty much? Is
20
that the
minutes.
area? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And what born? So Sydney all your life, pretty much.
Yeah.
And what made you go from this little girl who would beat people up that beat her brother up, to going into HR? And what was the
Yeah, well, I think often as a teenager, you often don't know what the hell you want to do because you've never really tried anything. You've been in a institution like school and you've never really tasted the real world. So I think a lot of the times you're either guided by your parents or, you know, you do what you think is right. You don't really have, or some people do, I guess, but I didn't really have a passion that I knew that I was aware of. So I got into HR because I was like, oh, I'll do a business degree and I'm good with people. And I like talking to people. That's probably my skill set, is like more soft skills and, you know, people. And HR sort of incorporates that. So, but it's interesting though, because I know that everything in my life that I've done, that I've kind of excelled at, has all been a coaching role, because that's kind of what HR is. It's advising, it's coaching, you know, it's hiring people, it's firing people. And then I moved into, I'd always taught kid classes, like when I did the martial arts, but, you know, and then I moved into this, which is also coaching. But I do play that role quite a bit in my life where I'm like, you know, even with friends when they have got issues, I feel like I'm coaching there. I mean, and it's all a HR background because the degree incorporated a lot of psychology subjects. So understanding the human brain and how people react and what motivates people, it was all part of it.
Oh, and just listening to how you speak and even watching some of your stuff, it makes sense. Like, I feel like you're made to do this, like, you know, sort of purpose on this earth, you know. I feel like my purpose, like, I feel like I've never been happier in my life than right now doing these things. And I feel like this is my purpose, talking to humans and listening about their story and, you know, sharing it with other people. So I feel like you're definitely on that purpose. Do you feel like that? Like,
yes, 100%. Well, actually, I discovered a word that was, it's called Dharma. And it's a Sanskrit word. Yes. And so like when I heard that, yeah. So when I heard that word, I was like, oh, I found it. I found my Dharma. Because, and it's weird because you look back, once you sort of discover that this is one of my purposes on this earth, I looked back and I thought everything in my life had prepared me for this. Like,
speak on there right now. Like, that's how I feel even with doing this myself. 100%.
Everything. Like the situations, that all the adversity, all the things that I encountered as a child, all the losses that I've had, all the relationships that I've had, all the friendships that have maybe not, you know, not done well or done well, have literally prepared me to be the best version of myself, to also, like, you know, help women. Because it's weird, like some of the things, even some of the abusive relationships that I've gone through, I thought they've actually just given me more tools. Like it's horrible to go through that, but actually what it's done is it's opened my eyes up to, you know, a physical kind of violence, but then there was like psychological. So it's like, it's actually opened my eyes up. I remember leaving one relationship and I thought it was awful what happened to me. But then I was like, actually, he showed me how the cycle of abuse starts. So it starts with, you know, the whole cycle of a narcissistic abuse. With the love bombing, and then, you know, the slowly devaluing of the person, and then the final discard, and then there's all these other things that happen after that. And I was like, I never knew about that. And I don't think I would say I would want it again, because it's not a great thing to happen. But the silver lining is that it actually gave me the missing piece of the puzzle. So when I'm helping others and I'm helping other women heal, I now know, because I'm the most qualified I could be, because I've gone through it. And I think that's something that's really interesting, is that people do courses, or like there's a lot of stuff people do, but truly the most qualified you can be is when you actually go through the situation and you overcome those adversities, and then you have the tools to help others.
Yeah, definitely. Experience, I think you can't substitute experience, like when it comes to being good at something, or, you know, you just really, and I feel you, because like I grew up in a lot of obviously I'm not a woman, but I grew up as a child, I was abused, molested. I speak about it a lot on here, not for clout, just to be like, bro, you know, one, first of all, fuck all you pedophiles out there, and then two, just like to understand. But a lot of that, like you said, preparing you, which is shit to say, but like a lot of that stuff makes us who we are. Like the strength that you have in your journey, you know, who you are now today, you know, probably wouldn't have that without the experiences that you've had to endure, which is sad. But like,
it is sad.
Yeah, and like
it's sad, but it's also in a weird way too. It's like it makes you more empathetic. You have more understanding of what people are going through. And to be honest, all the people that have gone through the worst stuff in their lives are the best people. like, especially if they've turned it around, they've used it and turned it around.
I was going to say, because some people have been through it and
Some
they go the
people-
exact same way. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I
Some
get you.
people are evil.
But if you
Some
do
people
flip
take the
it,
evil path. But a lot of
if you,
truly amazing people have gone through the worst shit in their lives, and they turned around and they are able to be more empathetic and just better people because of it.
I'm with you, because I and don't get me wrong, like, I'm nowhere near perfect, but I've always tried to be the antithesis of what I grew up with. You know what I mean? Like, with, you know, I don't, you know, just like, and then probably a lot of the times along the journey, because of what you experience, you don't always get rid of. Like, there's a lot of behaviors I realize now that I'm like, oh, I still gotta work on that thing. You know what I mean? But the key is that we want to, right? Or we desire to work at it and get better. For sure. And no, shout out to you and props to you for doing that. You said in your HR role you have to hire and fire. What was your first fire like hiring someone?
I was so nervous, but I had a really it's actually it's really nerve-wracking firing someone, but I mean at the start. But to be honest, I think I had such a good HR boss. Like, she's still my mentor today. And she was just she really broke it down for me and was like a really fair boss. So basically what her philosophy was that if you fire someone, they should either definitely know it's coming if it's like a performance fire, or if they've done something wrong like theft, or they've done something that's like totally broken the policies, then it's not really that bad, because you think well, you've actually done something really bad. So it's not that bad. But I've had pretty hectic fires where I've had I had this one woman throw. She had like an envelope in her hand in the middle of the conversation, and she threw the envelope at me, and I was like, shit.
Did you hit like a girl or what?
No, I just sat there and I thought, well, you're just showing your true colors. So see ya.
Yeah, that's why you got the sick.
Yeah. So I mean, and I remember shaking in my first like performance conversation when I had to fire the person, but she'd also stolen something. So I thought, and we had it on camera. Yeah. And I mean, there's always a lot of theft, especially in fashion. Because I worked in HR.
Oh, because it was fashion.
Yeah, it was fashion. So I worked in. I've worked in about 4 different fashion houses, and there's always theft. I don't know why, but there always is.
Like, what kinds of theft? Like,
just clothes, money from the till. People just get really comfortable. Yeah, people just get comfortable, and also maybe like, I don't know, as a casual, maybe they're not getting paid enough. I don't know, and then they feel the need to take stuff. But especially when the company's a bit lax on stock take, and people just take clothes. Yeah.
Wow. True.
Happens all the time.
So are you still intertwined in that fashion world, or?
I mean, I used to work. My most recent fashion company was Camilla Franks, and I'm still really good friends with Camilla. So I speak to her probably every couple of months as well. And I mean, if I wanted to go back into Camilla, I definitely could. I have a really good relationship with everyone there and the team. But I just think at the moment I'm sort of trying to figure out exactly what to do at the moment too, because I was in Bali and I've come back and I'm sort of like reevaluating what my bigger purpose is, because I think I need to like dream a little bit bigger and reach a bit higher at the moment, because I think that always works better for me. Almost like me being a little bit delusional, like in my goals. I think that's where I need to be at the moment, to be honest.
You're the Delulu.
Delulu's the Salulu.
that whole Bali thing, where did the idea come from?
I've always wanted to live overseas, and Bali is obviously a safe option, but also my Oma is half Indonesian, and I grew up with a lot of Indonesian food and hearing the Indonesian language. I learned it at school.
So you could speak it. Can you, or are you one that can understand it more than you can speak? Okay.
I can understand it pretty well. I started speaking it a bit when I was over there, because I did work with the locals a lot.
Like, you mean she's like actually Indonesian, or?
Yeah, she's half Indonesian. Yeah, so she was born in Surabaya in Java.
And half, what's the other half?
Dutch, so from the Netherlands.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's one of my favorite places in the world, the Netherlands.
Yeah, the Netherlands is amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Just very, very similar to New Zealand in a lot of ways, but the whole setup, the whole reclaimed land buzz, and all of that.
Yeah,
just, how they live in these houses like that, and The swirly staircases. No.
Yeah,
Shout out to the
right. So
Netherlands,
it's
man.
similar.
It's pretty trippy. Yeah. Even how they, how they bring things in from like, like they got those little crane sort of things at the
Yeah,
top. It's interesting. I think it's
it's
pretty
very
cool.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
there's cool
Um,
culture too.
yeah, it is. It's beautiful. I love it. That's part of the reason. And also, I wanted to escape Sydney because I had another ex-boyfriend. So it was just like a situation that I thought I didn't want to get away from the situation.
Okay.
And Bali's also an island. For me, it was an amazing healing place because it's quite a feminine. It's got a lot of feminine energy, and like the culture there is Hindu on the island, and it's basically the island of karma. So what you put in and what energy you bring to that island is kind of what it gives back to you. So it was the best thing I could have ever done. I did so much healing. I found myself, it sounds so corny, but like I never truly have been, I think since I was 19, I've been in and out of relationships. So it's the first time that I actually just had like almost a year-long break away from men, didn't go on any dates. I just
Nothing.
was, nothing.
No.
So
You
I
gay,
know.
girl?
I know. Maybe virgin.
On to the ladies. No. Did you? Now I get the double entendre hit like a girl.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I've found peace in being by myself as well, which was I think super important for me to learn.
That's a huge key in life, I think, is being okay with being by yourself, like in your own space by yourself. Because a lot of times, I think, and a lot of people can lose themselves being by themselves and end up harming themselves because of it. You know what I mean? Because they're not used to it. Yeah.
No.
That's
and
a
all
good
the
thing. Did you climb
distractions.
Mount Agung?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. Or multiple times, or
no, just once. Just once.
What was that experience like?
Amazing. I love hiking and going up on a live volcano is just like amazing because you can feel the power. It kind of humbles you a lot too because you think like we're not in control. Like if this went off, see ya. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's a good experience.
Boy, that's the crazy thing though, when you think about it, like you're literally on a live volcano that has erupted like not that long ago. You know what I mean? Like a good danger. Yeah.
It's a ticking time bomb. Yeah. But so it was the best thing I could have done. And I think learning, as you said, it's a key to life. Like I'd always like be really anxious if I was by myself or wasn't with a friend or didn't have plans. But in Bali, because I didn't have as many friends, and that's something that I also had to be open to too as well. Like joining new communities and being open to new friends.
Yep.
So but sometimes at the start, I had no one to hang out with and I was by myself. And that would have made me really anxious. But I really just had to be like, no, I just got to sit here and go through it. So it was good.
Yeah. Wow. Whole year, no boys. Like you mean like literally none. Like just
none.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh. Like I like guys ask me out on dates and stuff. But but I was like, oh, actually no. Because I was a bit too traumatized as well. So I just thought, like I think when you leave a like narcissistic relationship, you're a lot in fight or flight throughout the relationship. So when you finally leave and your nervous system regulates, you then a lot of things can trigger you, and you almost have like a bit of PTSD. So you start thinking that someone would be really nice to me. I'd be like, oh no, they're love bombing me. Oh God, what are their intentions?
What's love bombing? What does this mean?
So love bombing is like when it's part of the cycle of abuse that a narcissist will take you through. So it's the weird thing with narcissism and like that. Basically, what I think too is any person that is abusing someone in a relationship. So if you're saying to someone that you love them and then you are abusing them, you would have to be on the spectrum of a narcissist because like that's just it doesn't make any sense. Why are you abusing someone that you're telling them you love them?
Oh, I think some of my Cardi Guardians used to love bomb me. I love you. When I was a kid, I think they were love bombing me. The bastards.
So love bombing is like it's a manipulation tactic used to hook you, and then that's when they can start abusing you. Because obviously, if you abuse someone and they don't really love you yet, it's harder to abuse you. But once you've hooked them, and they're in love with you, and they have this attachment to you, it's much easier to abuse someone after that.
I've never heard this term, love bomb. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, then
So
love bomb.
it's often overused. Like a lot of people overuse these terms because they're not really they don't really understand. Like truly, when you actually meet a narcissist, you realize, oh, this is actually a narcissist. Like it's not, people are like, oh my god, my boyfriend's a narcissist, and my
Yeah,
girlfriend.
that's what I mean. Because I
Yeah,
hear this
no,
all the
no,
time. Like
no,
narcissist, narcissist, narcissist. I'm like, what is that? Can you
no.
enlighten me a little bit on the narcissist?
Yeah. So a narcissist, to be honest, they are truly just evil people. Like they intentionally abuse, control, and manipulate someone. They have this side. Everyone thinks like a narcissist is like someone who's like really confident and is in love with themselves, but actually it's actually the opposite, because inside they're full of shame. They have no sense of
Oh,
self. They truly don't know, they have a really fragile sense of self. So what they do is they have a mask where there's a couple of different types of narcissist, but like the main one, like a grandiose narcissist, is like super charismatic, super confident, has a bit of a god complex. They don't like boundaries. So if you set a boundary with a narcissist, that's a good way to tell if someone's about a narcissist. If you set a boundary, they will react really badly. They have no accountability. They can never really apologize. They can't take any accountability. They have no reflection. And the number one thing with a narcissist that's the scariest is that they have no empathy. So they have no empathy, they can't feel remorse, and they have no guilt. So that's what makes them
literally
so
don't feel
scary.
it. Like,
They
oh,
don't.
okay.
They never actually formed it as a child. So it often happens when they're children.
Woo.
Like either they have a narcissistic parent and it turns them into a narcissist, or different types of dynamics with either parent will turn a child into a narcissist. But once they are a narcissist, it's basically impossible to change. They will never ever change because it's a personality disorder. So you think about how you would change parts of your personality. It'd be so hard. So it's the same with a narcissist. Like they just won't
Hey, I'm
change. They keep
working on it
repeating.
now though. But yeah,
Yeah,
I get a Rome wasn't built in a day. Whatever way
yeah.
I am today, it didn't get that way in one day either. So
No,
yeah,
it
you got to
takes
work at
forever.
it, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the
So
key is to want to work on it. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah,
That
but the thing is with a
so
narcissist,
they
like,
literally don't have empathy.
no, they have no empathy. And then there's all different
Oh,
levels.
okay.
It's like it's called a cluster B personality type. So there's like narcissist, and then you've got sociopaths, and then you've got psychopaths, and they're all different levels of, I guess, they're narcissists, but they're also, then the higher you go, the more calculated and the more manipulative they are. And that's how you can also, that's most serial killers and most people that can murder people would be in
Yep.
that sociopathic, psychopathic, like sort of spectrum.
Oh, murder. Like I think anybody probably is capable of that. Like depending, I'll be honest. Like I'm a father of three. If anybody
Yes.
hurt my kids, like you know what I mean, like and you
Oh, yes.
it would be hard not to. You know what I mean,
Oh,
like
100%.
and to
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But to just do it, just to do it, yeah, you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's
so, so within that, like there's a whole cycle, and it's weird because narcissists will do the same thing. There's like a textbook behavior, and they all do the same thing. They say the same things, and like it's like they've all read the same textbook, and they just pass it around to each other. Because after I left the relationship, it's really weird. I went into these forums, and you deep dive because you want answers, because you cognitively you can't comprehend why this person did this to you and how they could be so just like dead in the eyes. And you realize once the mask falls off that like this person actually didn't love you and they were just manipulating you and controlling you. So after that, I went in a deep dive, and to be honest, I feel like I could write a thesis on it, or if you gave me a fucking mic, I could do a TED talk on it, because I have so much information on it now, because I went through it and I now have had the answers. But
this is the best. Like whenever I've asked somebody when they've said this stuff, I'm like, I've never got a good answer like this. This is deep. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and there's a few things you can look out for. They're all very similar. But I think the dangerous thing is that people always, physical abuse obviously is terrible because that really hurts you. But the psychological abuse that you receive from a narcissist is like brainwashing. It's like you get PTSD from it. It's slow, insidious abuse over a period of months or years. And to reverse that kind of abuse is actually, sometimes it's not irreversible, because what it does, it puts your brain into fight or flight, which releases lots of cortisol. A surges of cortisol on a daily basis for months and years actually does brain damage and does irreversible brain damage on your brain.
Oh, it's crazy because I seen something that showed children that had been verbally abused and like emotionally
Yes.
abused as compared to like kids who had been only like physically abused, and like the brains looked the bloody same. So like it makes sense too, because when I think about a lot of stuff that I went through as a child, or it's
Yes.
always like, bro, the physical stuff, gee, I'll take the hiding just to
Same.
like get it over with.
Oh,
Like, is that it? Because the
100%.
physical heals, right? Ah, let's go,
Yes.
whatever, bang.
Yeah.
And then but the like you're gonna ground me or you're gonna do all this other stuff, bro. Like mental, oh, that stuff, like that stuff still. I'm still trying to work through a lot of that stuff, you
For
know what I mean?
sure. Because
But
it's
I'm not
there's
talking about the physical, like fuck the
no,
hidings. I'll just laugh about them
whatever.
today,
Yeah.
you know. But like
Yeah.
that verbal or like emotional abuse,
Yeah.
I was still in there. I was like,
No,
oh,
it would be
I find
because
that one, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get rid of that. That's from
yes,
another.
it's so
Yeah,
layered.
okay,
So late. And
yeah.
also what's confusing, I guess, for humans and what's the most evil humans to me, because everyone's like, a lot of people ask stupid questions when people leave in abusive relationships. They go, but just leave. Or, but
Hmm.
like, why can't you just like, why just get out? Like, and it's like, but this is the thing, like the person's not all bad. And that's what makes an evil person, because I would leave if the person was evil all the time. But what the person does is they're really nice to me and they give me all this love and then they pull it back, or they're really mean to me slowly. But then they go back and they're really nice to me again and then they're evil. So that toxic cycle is actually what hooks us and keeps us bonded to the person, because then we chase the highs, we get the highs and they take us all the way down again. So it's actually the most evil people are the ones that go that up and down, because that's what keeps us hooked and keeps us in control emotionally with the other person.
Mm. Is it only a male thing or no?
No, I mean, there's definitely female narcissists. I think it's definitely predominantly male, because often what happens is it's the mother wound that causes a male narcissist. So it's the mother either enmeshing with the son. You'll often find when you date a male narcissist, you're also dating the mother. She's their biggest supporter, their biggest, they call them flying monkeys.
Oh, those ones, yeah.
Yeah. So you date both, and then as soon as the son turns against you, the mother will be his number one supporter. She'll talk shit about you, like it's all the thing. But like the thing is, it's when they, and because what happens is, I've researched this. So like basically, what happens
Yeah,
is the
sounds
mother.
like you have.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a little bit. The
Mm.
mother actually doesn't get her needs met emotionally from her partner, or has a really absent partner. So then she enmeshes with her son and then gets her emotional needs from the son. But then the son builds resentment because he's taking on all this emotional baggage from the mother, but never sets boundary with the mother, but then builds resentment. So when he gets into a romantic relationship, he then takes it out on his partner intimately, because he's got a lot of resentment for women. So a lot of narcissists are super misogynistic, and they will try and manipulate and control their partner to sort of take all the anger out they have from their mother onto their partner. And they don't necessarily, they're not really conscious. I don't think some of them are not conscious. This is the pattern.
Oh, yeah. It would make sense, because like just like what you're saying about how these narcissists are created, it becomes more probably, or it's programmed, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, but they don't even know they're doing it probably a
No,
lot of the
no.
time.
So
Yeah, okay.
they don't know that they're abusive, but they do know that they are controlling and manipulative, and they do see the hurt. But what their brain is wired to do, is to justify the action. So they'll be like, "Oh, but
Ah.
I had to control them because they acted like that, and I had to cheat on them because they were probably doing it to me anyway." So they'll always justify their action. So they know, they're conscious, they know what they're doing is wrong, but they will justify it always. So you'll often see a massive victim complex with all narcissists. So it's always everyone against them. It's always, I had to do this because they've justified it somehow. So like, that's why it's so hard to reason with them, because they will always justify it. There's no accountability. They are the victim.
Fuck, I think I know one. Really,
Oh, you
really
would.
know one.
You would have to know one.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
no,
everywhere.
no, but I was just,
Yeah, they're everywhere.
no, I was just thinking like right now, shit.
They're the victims.
Like,
It's the worst trait, I think, in a human. When people have a victim complex, it makes me just want to, like, I can't stand it.
no, but I was just thinking of the fact that, like, not only like like the not only do they say, like, or they always reason with things, but I think the part that you said earlier, which I think is key to me understanding, as the no empathy part as well, like having all of these traits, but then also having no empathy for
Yeah.
the other person, and all, like you
Yeah.
said, their brain justifying to themselves why it
Yeah.
doesn't matter why that person. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, and that's scary. And you think about what I relate it to. I think about animals, right? Animals probably have low, or maybe some of them don't have any empathy. And to be honest, I feel like that's what separates us and makes us more emotional and complex, is the fact that we do have empathy. But if a human doesn't have empathy, how dangerous? Because they can go around and hurt all these people and feel absolutely nothing, and that is a dangerous person.
I concur. 100.
Yeah.
There you go, narcissists, eh? So you escaped that. Then there was a big driver for you to go and do this whole Bali trip, and also a driver for you to just say no to boys.
Yeah, I mean,
Girls as well. Did you say no to girls as well, or no?
And girls. I mean, maybe I should.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I think about it. I'm like, maybe.
Oh, have you never tried? Don't knock it till you
No,
try.
I have actually.
Oh, I have.
I have, but I definitely am straight. But I think females are the most beautiful creatures ever. So I think they're more attractive.
I'm straight, but they're more attractive. I'm confused.
Maybe I'm confused. I don't know. Shit, maybe I come out on this podcast.
If someone was to ask you what's life like as someone who lives in Bali, and I'm talking about people who have visited, not like, I mean, anybody, but, there's a lot of people that visit Bali. Myself, I've been plenty of times, and I'm sure there's many out there that all listen to this. My own family members that have been heaps as well, but like, what's it like living there?
Living there is a different experience for sure. I mean, I loved it because I think you have to connect with the island, and that's the most important thing that I did. I really made sure that I connected with the island and the culture and the people. And I mean, I would eat off the carts in the street. I never got Bali belly either. I've never been sick over there.
Well, you are Indonesian too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's my Indonesian blood. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I just think that the most important thing is making sure you abide by the rules on the road, and super respectful to the locals and their cultures, because they have so many ceremonies and so many things that surround their religion. So I think that's really key. But I mean, I lived in Canggu. So Canggu was very westernized, very busy, full of expats. But I think you can choose on the island. You can go super toxic, and you can go and you can party every night, and you can do what you can go in that toxic lifestyle, or you can go and then more spiritual, and there's a lot of amazing gyms over there, and you can train, do recovery, and you can go in that sort of style as well. So it's a choice. But I love the food there. It's so cheap to live there. Like my rent, like I lived in a villa over there. And I just connected with a lot of different communities. So a lot of different gyms. So I think that's key, like training and feeding your body right, and then having communities and really good relationships around you. And that's what I did in Bali. I made sure of it because my energy was very sensitive when I went over there, because I was like, super broken from what happened. And so when I went over there, I was just super conscious of the people that I hung around, made sure they were good energy, made sure I was training right, going to bed, getting enough sleep, and just really looking after myself. So I think that living over there was amazing. It's not a forever place, though. Definitely not a forever place.
Oh, okay. Nah.
No, because I think there's a few things that are kind of annoying. It still has third world elements, because it is a third world country. So yeah, so like the water is super dirty. So the water does muck up your hair and skin a little bit, because you have to have so many filters on your waters. You can't drink obviously from the water either. But I did brush my teeth with the water every day. So I don't know.
That's what happened. No, just joking.
No. So, yeah, but I also it's like, I don't know, the dating scene over there. If I did date, because I mean, like, I got asked on dates and I saw guys over there, but I actually think I'm gonna badmouth it, but it was pretty toxic over there, because you're either in holiday modes. People aren't looking for long-term relationships. Everyone's in like a holiday sort of mindset. And there's a lot of people go over there that do run away from things. So like a lot of broken people with, things that have happened to them, and they go to the island either to heal or maybe sometimes to enhance their brokenness. A lot of criminals go there.
Enhance their brokenness. What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, you can do a lot of things that are like, it's a very free island. So there's not like a lot of the police over there. Everything's pretty corrupt. So you can do a lot of things over there that you normally wouldn't be able to do in a Western country, I think. Yeah. So that you can.
So are you recommending it to people?
I mean,
I'm confused. Just, like I don't know if I ever want to go back now.
No, it's just like, but it's elements. It's all a choice, right? So you can choose to go there and do those kind of things. I just noticed that was a pattern, that a lot of people that I met over there, I thought, oh, you're a bit dodgy. So
you're a bit dodgy, mate. I don't know about you, buddy.
Yeah. So, and like they were nice, normal people, but I think that a lot of people go there because it's a country where, because it is third world, and a lot of third world countries are like this, you can pay a lot of people off to get away with things. So, and it's just like something. I guess it's just reality, but you wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, not so much in Australia. I mean, sometimes. I mean, I actually think that we have a lot of corrupt areas in Australia that people don't really talk about.
Yeah, of course. Like, I think
mean, the whole system.
I think everywhere where humans are in control of things, their corruption exists everywhere. You know what I mean?
100%.
Whether you're in a third world country or first world clean country, like corruption, because you're dealing with human beings. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And human beings have their own inflictions, their own pain that they're trying to run away from, or their own addictions. So yeah. I think, people that think like, only third world countries are corrupt, you're an idiot.
No, they are an idiot. And the thing that I like about that is that they know they're corrupt and they don't pretend they're not. But I think that in like Australia, for example, we pretend like we're not corrupt, but we actually are.
Of course.
Of
course there is. You know what I mean? You're like, you come from Sydney, like the King's Cross police were like some of the, that we know about were some of the worst. You know what I mean?
Yes.
With corruption, there's probably heaps more that they haven't been brought to light yet. But it's just one example.
Totally. And even some of my friend's actually a criminal lawyer, and the other day we were talking about domestic violence, and she said it's actually wild because 17% of domestic violence attacks happen from police officers. And I was like,
17%.
That's a large number.
That's pretty big.
Yes.
Wow.
I know. And I was like, it actually doesn't surprise me because I mean, I'm not going to badmouth the police, but like,
no.
The personality types that go into that like power like jobs, a lot of people go into it because they're craving that, or maybe they didn't get that, now they want that. So
that's what I mean. You can't weed that stuff out. Like, how do you weed that stuff? Because they're gonna play whatever role they need to play until they get into the position, and then all of a sudden, this guy's got his complex on, or maybe what you said, narcissist, and they're in this position now.
Yep.
And there's heaps of them. That's it. Like, I don't know. How would do you think there'd be a way you could like weed that stuff out before they become police?
Well, I mean, it's something that actually I've been thinking about, weirdly enough, because I think after some of my experiences, I was like, how can I actually help others and help society? Because there's just such a low level of awareness around, abuse and tactics of manipulation and control. And it's actually something that I'm looking into doing because I really would love to run workshops. And it starts with, like children as well, but also educating big institutions like, big corporate companies and police and people who are there to protect us at the top. It starts with educating them and making them aware of what the signs are of that. So if I could, I mean, it's something that I'm thinking about. I would love to run workshops and, use my platform for awareness, which I do anyway on my TikTok and on my Instagram, Hit Like a Girl. But I think the more we can speak about, because a lot of people aren't comfortable speaking about abuse or things that they've experienced and I get it, because I think, well, A, they don't want to live it again. They don't want to talk about it. And B, it causes problems because a lot of the times victims are not believed because the abuser is either a powerful person or they're super manipulative or the person's traumatized. So they're not able to talk about it succinctly because they're so traumatized from the situation. So it's unreasonable to think that a victim could actually go through and talk about it because, it's hard. So, I think, but I'm comfortable talking about it. And and it's in my core to want to help others. So that's what I cling to. I think if I can speak up, I know that it's going to give power to others to help them speak up because I've seen it happen in real time.
What experiences have you had abuse-wise that you can speak on like right now, or that you're willing to or are able to?
For sure. So when I was 22, I snapped my ACL, and then I got I was getting rehabilitation. I snapped it skiing. And so anyway, so I was getting rehabilitation after the surgery, and it was with he was a friend of mine actually, and he was the same age, and he was a physiotherapist.
Ooh.
And I remember he was doing the rehabilitation, and in the middle of his the session. Kept getting closer and closer up to my inner thigh. And I started feeling really awkward. And I was like,
"That's not my knee."
That's definitely not my knee. It's actually a different body part.
ACL.
That's actually. And so anyway, so he kept going up and up, and he ended up putting his fingers inside of me. And I remember I went into a freeze state, and I remember getting off the bed, and I was like, I need to go. And I was just like so in shock. I remember looking at him, and he was like, pupils were dilated, his lip was all like sweaty, and he was like, obviously it was just out of control. And I remember thinking, what the fuck? And then anyway, so from that, I just never spoke to him again. He sent me he was really bizarre about it, sent me a message, I blocked him, and then just never spoke to him again. And then 2 years later, someone tagged me in a police report, because on Facebook, police, say if anyone's got any more information. And it was a very similar situation. It said physiotherapist in Camden, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, my friend, I told like 2 friends, I never really spoke about it. And then my friend tagged me and said, I think this might be that guy. And I was like, oh, fuck, like maybe. And then I deliberated on it for ages, because I was like, I don't want to get involved. And like all these things went through my head. Anyway, called the police, and I said, I think I have a similar story. And they said, look, give us the name and we'll say yes or no. And I gave the name, and they said, yeah, it's him. We'd love for you to come in and give a statement. And I thought, okay, I was so nervous. Went in, I gave a video statement. And then I found out later, 16 women came forward, and he was up for charges of rape and assault and sexual assault, like from 16 different women, ages from like 19 to 42 or something.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
That's similar to that. Did you hear about that one in the US with the Olympic gymnastic?
Yes.
That was crazy. That dude, like 100 and something
girls,
little girls.
They just get away with it, and they just keep getting away.
And the parents are right there.
Yes. But that's almost better for them, because they want that feel. They want to feel that. Yeah. It's disgusting. And so I remember, the most heartbreaking, but also I guess heartwarming thing for me in this whole situation was that after I gave the statement, after my video was played in the court, my statement, because I was the first person that he groomed, basically, linked together all the other girls. So I had no idea who the other people were. It just really, I got it all together. And then 2 of the dads of the younger girls that he'd actually raped and assaulted messaged me on Facebook, and both of them were just thanking me. And they were just saying, thank you so much for your statement. You were so clear. The detail that you gave just linked it all together. And you actually helped our daughters and this whole case get through. And then I remember thinking, never again will I be silent. Never again will I not speak up and talk about it, because obviously it helps others. So that was one of the things that I guess, and as I was saying before, things that prime us for where we are. I just remember thinking that was one of the first lessons I felt. I thought, yeah, I do need to speak up.
Far out. And so there was and was that had you ever been abused at all before that, in that manner?
Probably lightly, as in, I think as a female, every female experiences sexual or physical or verbal assault from a male. It's just, the fucked up thing is, it's the stats for that are so high. I actually don't know a female that hasn't been abused in some sense in that from a man. And I'm not trashing men at all, but I just think we live in a patriarchy, and some of those behaviors are so normalized. And it's not just, actually it's not just females. A lot of young boys are also heavily abused as well, because also it's even.
Oh yeah, I was one too. By female sometimes, or male and female, but yeah.
Yeah, because, and there's almost more shame in a male speaking up. Because
I think so too.
Yeah, there is, because men are, shut up, stop crying, don't show emotion, grow up, be a man. There's all these things that men are told.
And even you think you're gay, man. You think, not that there's anything wrong with. I
know.
If you like dudes, and you are both consenting adults, go hard. But I used to have that thought when I was a child, too. Fuck, am I gay? And I never liked boys. I just thought, does that make me gay? Because guy did this thing to me or whatever.
Yeah, because I've researched this too, because I thought about that, because I had a male friend that was sexually abused when he was younger. And I really unpacked that, and I thought, because children under the age of 5 or 7, when someone does a sexual act to them, they have no control. So maybe they're getting a sexual response, but their body is just doing that because that's, instinctively what happens. But then when they grow up and that is imprinted on their brain, when they grow up and they think about that, they think, well, a sexual response happens. Am I gay? But it's that they can't help it, and they can't cognitively understand that, that's not okay for it to happen to a child that young, but it's imprinted in their brain. So of course it would make you feel like that you maybe were attracted because your body was just reacting and you didn't even know what was happening.
Yeah, actually, you know what happens too? Like, also, like you can become quite, keen as a child. You know what I mean? So like you fucking,
Yeah.
like yeah, so things that you shouldn't probably, you're looking at or watching and end up being like,
Yes.
oh, you know what I mean? All the material you start to get into,
Yeah.
and but yeah, you said before about being brainwashed. Like there's like a big brainwashing that happens. Physical abuse, yeah, like getting the bash, like getting punched, and fucking kicked or beaten. Yeah, that's yuck too. But when you get sexual, like it triggers something different where you like, And I'll be honest, like I'm not saying I'm fucking God or anything, but I enjoy pleasuring a woman, right? And
Mm.
this is just, but I think a lot of that shit comes from being a kid, like in like, being active as a child. So like, I feel like inadequate if the female doesn't finish. Like, I
Yes.
feel like I'm inadequate. But I think a lot of that comes from that trauma as a child. Like that,
Yeah.
being so active as a young age,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. You know what I mean? Like kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then as
Yeah.
you get older, and these have been, I don't know. Anyway, sorry. That's
No.
just my thoughts. Are like, why? Because yeah, I feel like a deep like I'm inadequate as a human. I know heaps of dudes that I know that don't give a damn. Like once they're finished, they don't care. Like it's,
Yeah.
but like I feel like fuck. Then you feel like don't you feel bad? Like you haven't like
Yeah.
served her properly. I don't know. But I think a lot of that
I
stuff
mean,
comes from being a child, man. Like all that shit,
yeah. I
like
mean, it
being
also sounds
so.
like you're an empathetic person too.
Oh yeah, maybe I don't know. Yeah, I definitely do have a little bit of a heart, I guess. Yeah, to having the
Yeah.
empathy. That shit, I can't fathom that even. Even
Yeah.
like when I've grown up and you've had like even having fights before, like just growing up. You know what I mean? And then you've hurt somebody pretty bad just in a fight. Like you feel bad later. You know what I mean? Sort of thing.
For sure.
Yeah, 100.
Yeah.
So
That should be a
anyway,
normal human response, really.
but obviously not a
No.
normal response for some people.
No.
Well, from what you're saying. So yeah, I don't know. There's so many you like things that happen when like that kind of shit happens to especially a child because
Oh
you're
yeah.
especially when a child it happens anyway to a woman or anybody in in life it's not good but like when it happens to a child because your brain's not developed at all you don't
No,
even
you're
like
so impressionable.
yeah hard and the only understanding you have is like straight away you think that's right okay I gotta like I've been filled in on a story about somebody that I know in about them possibly doing the same stuff to their daughter. It's all like I'm not gonna name whoever or whatever, but and
Yeah.
obviously it's all got to come out. But then it's some of the stories are that some of the witnesses would be witness this male saying we can't do these things like sort of a thing but like to the daughter but then the daughter obviously is just doing these things because she thinks that's right because she's only
Mm.
little
Yeah.
you know what I mean like she thinks that's how you love me I guess dad
Yes.
but yeah but that shit's I don't know it's,
It's just whack.
I just
It's
think
just
I
like,
also think like it's just fucked up that you do that to kids man like I get it
oh,
a lot of like majority of people that happens to they've done like it happened to them, but it happened to
yeah.
me. I didn't fucking choose their bullshit. You know what I mean? I
No.
chose to be opposite, and like even me now, I sit and watch like if I don't really drink that much these days, but I used to. And even when I did, and I started having kids, I'd always, or even before, I'd always watch where all the kids would sleep. Like if there was like a family gathering or something, and I'd always sort of like put myself like or either try get make sure that they'd all sleep in the lounge where everyone was safe or like try and I'd
Yeah.
always keep my eyes on and when I'd have parties at my house when
Yeah.
I first had like my son and then my oldest I'd always make sure that like no one like all the men was piss outside you know what I mean like no one go
Yes.
in like no one goes in the rooms all the kids are like all together where I could see them and even though I was
Yeah.
drinking I'd never like get too drunk where I couldn't like
Yeah.
just monitor things but
Yeah.
that's another thing that's fucked up because I can't switch that off you know
No,
what I
because now
mean?
you're
Like,
hyper aware. Yeah.
yeah,
Constantly vigilant.
yeah,
And that's a sure sign of abuse as well. Like vigilance and being hyper aware of situations as well. Because that's probably what the state you were also in put into getting abused. You would have gone into fight or flight or freeze or whatever your response was. And then it stays with you. Yeah.
yeah,
Alters you.
100. And then again, like on top of that, there's like I feel, big love to you for one being strong enough to because a lot of women would probably not even want to put that video out in the court or anything, would just probably fuck, I don't want anything to do with it, sort of thing. So power to you for being strong enough to do that. Obviously, you are a victim, but you don't give me victim mentality vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, give me a warrior, like warrior vibes. Hit like a
Yeah.
girl, baby. So keep going.
That's right.
Power to yeah, that's
Always.
right.
But I mean, it's very hard for me to think of myself as a victim because I don't know. I actually don't have it in me, and potentially to my detriment because, a lot of the stuff that was said about me is actually the opposite. So, yeah, I mean, for the court case that's coming out, I actually can talk about there is a court case coming up, and I'm keen to actually say my side because I haven't been able to say my side. So, and I am pleading absolutely not guilty. So that's sort of as much as I can say.
Yeah, hey, well, all the best with all of that, and hopefully the right outcome comes about. I know systems and that it's sometimes hard, but hopefully everything is resolved and the right result comes out of it all. And again, like power to you just for not being not giving up, because not only that, like people take their own lives, man, because of this stuff.
Oh,
I've been
absolutely.
there too, like
Yes.
like literally gonna do it and it just didn't work. You know what I mean? Like snapped cables where I've tried to hang myself. Like I'm a lot better with it now. Like but
Yes.
yeah, so like power to you for not, because I don't think some people go, oh, you're selfish, but when you get to that point, I don't know if you've
There's no
ever been
lie.
that low, but you're not thinking about anything. You know what I mean?
No,
You
of
just want
course.
to end it all. So
Yeah,
good on you for
definitely.
not. And
Yeah.
sis, you got my contact if you ever need a chat about it. If you ever do get down, I'll holler at your boy. I ain't no psychologist, but I've been through a little bit of stuff too, and I can have a listen. I can listen, and if anything, my advice is probably trash, but I can try and make you laugh. Try and
But you
make
know
you
what?
laugh at least.
No, but I appreciate that because I think that is actually the most important thing is being able to know you can turn to someone that will just listen. Because most of the time as humans, I think we want advice, but actually we just want a soundboard. We want someone to validate us and to listen to us and know that we have someone there at just any point. So I think that's super important. And for anyone who is going through abuse, and who all knows someone who is going through abuse, that is the most important thing because it can be very difficult for the people around someone getting abused because they often don't know how to deal with it. But that for me is the number one thing. It's just being and reconfirming to the person they can always talk to you in an unjudgmental space. That's just key.
Yeah, and that's what I impart to you, that if you need to.
Thank you so much.
Sometimes it's harder to talk to your friends too, because
it is
piece of people that are really involved in your situation or whatever you want to talk about. Like I said, you just might need a vent. Holla. Some people go to a little church and talk through a wall, but that don't work for me, because sometimes those fellas on the other side of the wall are the ones that do the touching. So anyway,
seriously.
story for another day.
Not
always.
not always.
But yeah,
a lot of the time.
Fucking seems like a lot. It seems like a lot out here.
High numbers.
High numbers, 100%. Well, you said earlier too, you're a bit of a breathwork facilitator or something. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah, so I mean, I love pairing the breath work with boxing because I think it's like the opposite ends of the spectrum. Like in boxing, you're in your sympathetic nervous system, which is like, a bit more fight or flight, high energy. But I like to pair it with breath work in my sessions. And so different techniques, different flows that can facilitate different things in your body. But I love breath work mostly because it actually helps you release trauma that's trapped in your body. Because a lot of the time we go to talk therapy, and talk therapy is great, but doing breath work and trauma release breath work can actually help get out some of the trauma that's trapped in your body. Because if you think about, when the trauma actually happens to you, you're breathing really heavily, or things happen and you feel all the adrenaline in your body, but you sometimes can't get that out of your body. And breath work can put you into a safe place where you can go back into that and release and work through it. And, maybe you need to cry, maybe you need to scream, maybe you need to laugh, whatever it is. But you can be in a safe space, be taken through that journey where you can help release some of that trauma. So I love doing that as well in big groups. I think it's super healing.
There you go. That sounds flash.
Yeah.
That's on. Well, how long have you been in that? space for?
I did my breathwork course probably 2 years ago, and then I do like big workshops every couple of months in Bondi. I've done most of them in Bondi or in Sydney, and I incorporate and do like big breathwork sessions. So in the breathwork sessions, I sort of do an educational piece, and then we do some flows, and then I talk about different techniques people can use in different circumstances in life, like stressful situations before sleep, to regulate their nervous systems, or even to increase energy. So, and then I did my breath work sort of, I incorporated it. I mean, breathing's always been a big thing for me because I was a swimmer. So there's a lot of breathing techniques you have to do for that. And then in martial arts.
You skipped over that. A little swimmer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I used to swim competitively when I was all through school. And I actually went to the trials for the Olympic Games in 2000. Okay. So but I had, this is an excuse, but I had Liesl Jones was in my age group, she had the world record. So I had to actually beat her to get into the Olympic team. So didn't do that. But I got fifth. I think I was fifth in Australia at one point in the 200 breaststroke.
Wow, that's pretty good.
So, and I was 16. So I was a good swimmer, but also I just think I probably didn't maybe have the emotional maturity really to make it at that time. I think now I've got more mental toughness. So maybe I could be an athlete now if I really put my mind to it. Because I think I have better resilience as well.
Oh, definitely. And the experiences that you've gone through and how you've come through them and continue to. Yeah, I think you would be. I thought you were an athlete anyway. I was. Someone asked me who you got on the podcast today. I was like, an athlete. No.
Well, I'm going to have a few fights this year, actually. So I'm going to Europe in 2 weeks.
Okay.
For
Olympics?
2 weeks. And then when I get back, I'm going to have a couple of amateur fights here in Sydney. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, how those they already set up? Or?
No, so it's like a tournament. So
tourneys,
it's kind of like any other kind of sport where they just they host tournaments, and then you get matched up based on your experience and your weight class, and then I'll fight a couple of people in a tournament or something. Yeah.
Oh, exciting! I look forward to seeing how it all goes. This is pretty cool. Before you get out of here, I've got a couple of quick little questions, if that's okay.
Yes.
What was young Ash Ruscoe into music-wise?
I was into the Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys.
Oh, did you want it that way? Oh, okay.
Yes, I love them. I used to kiss their posters.
Oh, true. Who was the one though? Out of all of them,
I liked Nick, and now I look back, I'm like,
yuck. Nick.
Yes. Yeah. What was I thinking?
Well, so who now out of them, if you had to choose, who does 21-year-old Ash want now?
Probably the dark-haired one. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. It was like a shorter dark.
Fan, were you? No. I guess personality-wise, if you could match up your personality with one of the Spice Girls, who would you say?
Probably Scary Spice.
Oh,
Mostly because I feel like she was super outspoken, high energy. It would have to be a mix between her and Sporty Spice because I'm like super sporty as well. So either of them, but I think like Scary Spice is always that kind of leading. So that's kind of like.
Who's Scary? Is that Mel B?
Yeah, Mel B.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ash B.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Solid. What about what about food? If you could only eat one meal, so an actual meal, not one type of food, but one meal every day for the rest of your life, you got to eat this meal. What would you devour daily?
If health didn't matter, like if I wasn't.
No, health don't matter. Come on now, it's for the rest of your life.
So probably my Oma cooks this Indonesian curry with this Indonesian salad called gado-gado, and like she cooks rendang and like this full Indonesian feast, and it's like her cooking is what I would eat every day because it just made with so much love.
What? Can we get Oma's name?
Her name's Hilda de Vilda.
Hilda de Vilda. Shout out to Hilda de Vilda, man. Oma, man. And what's it called? The thing we're eating?
Rendang.
Rendang.
And nasi campur.
And nasi campur. Let's go. Fucking this thing every day, every day. But it's probably is it not too good on the health, is it?
It's just a bit oily and salty, but like I mean, it's delicious. So.
Ah, you're the salty. probably need a bit of, anyway,
Yeah.
I'll leave that there. What about superpowers wise, besides all the superpowers you have? If you could create one or pick one that exists in the superpower realm, which one would you choose and why?
I would love to be able to like transport myself to different places instantly.
Oh, teleport.
Teleport. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that then. Teleport. Three different destinations that you haven't been to right now. Teleport in the next 3 weeks. Spend a week in each.
Okay. I really want to go to Egypt. I just want to see the pyramids and I want to experience that culture.
Valley
I
of
would
the
actually
Kings.
also, and I really want to go to Eastern Europe. So I've never been to like, Russia or Albania or Croatia or Serbia, like one of those countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I also would also really love to go to like Alaska. I've never been to Alaska. I'd love to see the ice caps and like go into
some seal blubber.
Yeah, some seal blubber.
Yeah, no, it'll be there. And Point Barrow, that's a spot up there in Alaska. Point Barrow.
Yeah.
The northernmost part of the world.
Yeah, I'd love to like see that. But I think I'd probably most likely like to use it so I could just like quickly go and see family, because my family live like an hour and a half away, which doesn't sound like much, but just being able to quickly go to them or like go see friends overseas because I have a fair few friends overseas. I just think I love hanging around good connections and like my people. So being able to get to them quickly, that would be ideal.
Yeah. Any pieces of advice for ladies out there that are experiencing what you've escaped from yourself? How to do it?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is to just keep going. I think that, we often want to give up and, not speak about it. But I mean, the number one thing that I've learned is that talking about, and doesn't matter what on what scale, but talking about what happened to me in a safe space has been one of the most healing things for me. And then actively doing things that help you in your healing journey. And I mean, boxing and combat sport helped me because it actually releases it. It's not just talking about it. I'm releasing that anger and that, rage from my body in a really healthy way in combat sport. And then just looking after yourself and knowing that you are worthy, because that's what the number one thing also you feel after those relationships, that you're not worthy, that you blame yourself. And so, doing things that help you feel like you are worthy and knowing that.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, well said. Give us visualization. 10 years from now, what's life look like for Ash Ruscoe at 31 years of age?
I hope that I have a loving family around me. I would like a baby, and
like
and
I
hope
like a Angelina Jolie style baby, or you want like
like my own baby.
Oh, okay, just gotta confirm.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I would adopt, but I would like that, and then I also want to know that I've globally impacted women to help heal and help support women on a global scale.
Power to you. Well,
Let's
I just
go.
want to say, time is the most valuable commodity we have as human beings. The one thing we can never get back. We can always get back money, things, but time spent is time lost. So thank you for finally, after like the 30,000 years it took to do this. Not joking. Finally giving us an hour and 10 minutes of your time. And I'm sure that people that listen to this for years to come will take plenty of value from it. And hopefully it's not the last time. Be one day whenever I'm in Sydney, if you're free, and
Yes.
we need Oma to be free. We're gonna get some of that good stuff.
She can cook for us.
Yeah, 100. Look forward to it. Hey, big love though, sis, and blessings for the rest, blessings for the case and everything else you do for the rest of the year, the fights, the travel. Stay safe, keep shining, eh?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hey, big love, big love.
Thank you so much for watching this full episode of Mind the Mic. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to create these episodes. So to know that you've watched and listened to the entire thing means the world to myself and all our hosts. If you could, before you leave, please hit the subscribe button and share this episode out to as many people as possible. It would help us so much. Thank you again to everybody that's still here, still watching. Thank you for all your comments, all your shares, all the DMs. Appreciate you all. Make sure you follow us on every platform. Have an awesome morning. Have an awesome night, depending on where you are in the world. Mind the mic out.
Oi, have you hit the link in bio yet?
Watch full episodes on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all streaming platforms. Do it.